Now, to remember his son, who passed away in 2007 at the age of 4, Owen, Benji Bennett, wrote a children's book to remind us all of the importance of love within the family. It went on to have extraordinary success, becoming a bestseller and winning the Irish Children's Book of the Year Junior Award just last week.
Benji has now written a second children's book based on the same theme as the bestseller, and he joins us this morning to tell us about Adam's amazing space adventure. Thank you very much for coming in. First of all, congratulations on the award. You must have been absolutely thrilled. I was there, and I don't think there was a dry eye in the house. Everyone was so touched by your speech, and obviously everyone in the country was touched by your book because it sold so well.
Well, I have to thank you guys, because you had me on first originally on the show to promote it, and I think after that it was just the word got around, huge word of mouth. Wednesday it was just phenomenal. I don't know whether I was more scared about winning, not winning, or having to do a speech on the day, because I really wanted to say a few words and get Adam's message out about telling your kids you love them and try and be with them as much as you can. So luckily I was able to do that, and hugely emotional evening, because my whole family were there, and a couple of friends as well. So our table was a family and friends. When we won, the table went absolutely nuts.
I know, I saw. It was amazing. It was like the rowdy bunch are over there. Obviously.
Yeah, no, it was just great news. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
so
I have to ask you, by doing this book, has it been in some of this series of books? Has it been cathartic for you in any way? Is it helping you heal? In some ways, because what happened was a terrible tragedy to you and your family.
It was a huge tragedy, and to be honest with you, I've always considered myself incredibly lucky, because there's millions of people out there, well, not millions, thank God, but thousands of people out there who have been in a similar situation, and worse. I'm not the worst story. There's people who are way worse than me, and really, this has kind of saved my life, this, doing all of this stuff, and to be able to talk about Adam the way most parents would like to be able to, and to be able to come on to the show and talk about Adam and how wonderful he was, really for me is one of the things, to let everyone know how wonderful he was. And now he's flying around space rockets and doing all sorts of stuff. Yeah, so I'm really, really looking for that.
The response after your first appearance on the programme was overwhelming. Now, it had a huge effect on people in here, particularly, not everybody, but particularly those of us who had kids, because we all basically rushed home that night and squeezed our kids nearly to death. It's like, come here, I love you. I'm never going to fight with you again, and if I do, I'm going to say sorry before we... all of that sort of stuff. But we weren't quite prepared for the overwhelming response that came from the viewing public as well. And they all basically came back with exactly the same thing. But there was another aspect, apart from the message, which obviously got through. The other thing that people commented on was the grace and the dignity with which you and your wife dealt with the situation. Because at that time in any parent's life, the only thing you're thinking about is your grief. How did you manage to step outside your personal situation and start to think about other people who may potentially be in this situation? Where did that come from?
It was the night of Adam's funeral. Jackie, we were obviously in bits, and Jackie just said, like, why did this happen to us? And well, I suppose two things happened. One is, when something like this can kill you. This can kill you, your family, your kids. It can destroy everything that you have, and it has. So that was my number one thing, is that Adam was so amazing. He was such a great part of our family. He was so strong and funny that we couldn't let this happen. So it was a case of, and we use this sentence all the time, you can get busy living or you can get busy dying. And we said, let's get busy living. The other thing was that, we've come across people who have had horrific stories, absolutely horrific. And, for children who have suffered for years, really, really badly, and then they're lost. And then you've got other people where their children were like Adam, they've had an accident, and then they're unrecognisable now. And, so that's something I don't think I could deal with. I suppose when it happens to you, you have to deal with it. So with Adam, it's fair. I can't look at the picture there because it's a particularly poignant one for me. But for me, that's really what it's about. No matter how bad things are, and this is for even, because I've lost my job as well before in the way the economy is, no matter how bad anything is, somebody out there is going to be worse than you. And I suppose as this has been going on, I just want to, as much as possible, I won't tell parents to tell their kids to love them, and to, no matter how bad things are, even with the death of a beautiful son, if you look at what's on your doorstep, which is your family, your kids, your friends, and just wrap yourself around that, you'll get through absolutely anything.
Do you think that sometimes, as a nation, as a people, we tend to embrace the more negative rather than the positive? You've had unbelievable tragedy happen to you. You've, as you said, you've lost your job. I mean, anybody else might just go down and not get up again. How do you do that? I mean, in your speech the other night, I couldn't believe how positive you are. Grief-stricken, and your heart will always be broken. That is so true. But you just seem to see the good in everything now. Did that, in some way, out of the tragedy, did that some way help you to see the more beautiful things in life?
Well, I've always been quite positive, and to be honest with you, a lot of this message really comes from my wife Jackie, because she's the one who reminds me all of the time about what's important. So, you know, and I used to get all stressed and hassled and annoyed in work. She'd say, look, you know, what are you complaining about? Everything is great here, and everything was wonderful. So Jackie is a real kind of inspiration behind all of this as well. You know, Harry, our oldest, and Robbie and Molly, I mean, you know, there's nothing really that can touch you once you've got family, you know, around you. And
anything that does touch you, they'll get you through.
Yeah, they'll get you through, and you'll get through. I mean, we haven't got through it, but we're getting through it, and we're getting through it very well, and we're very lucky that we're in a situation. And even sitting here now, like the last time I was on, I was terrified, but it's great to be able to come on a little bit more relaxed and, you know, talk more about what's happening as well, which is really great.
Speaking with you, because we don't have much time left, in the original Before You Sleep, each page was sort of a template for other stories. And following on from that, what you've done is the first one, which is obviously Adam's Amazing Space Adventure. You take one page from that, and that then gets enlarged into a story, which is Adam's Amazing Space Adventure. Now, anybody who has a little boy knows that at some stage or another they're going to be fascinated by spacemen and aliens and whatever, whether it's Star Wars or Star Trek, or even just little funny green men when they're